German ICE4 high-speed train, the most numerous series of Intercity-Express trains with a total build of 137 7, 12 and 13 car sets. These trains have entered service over the past half-decade or so, and I've been waiting to experience a trip on board an ICE4 for quite a while now. Here finally was the opportunity to travel from Frankfurt Airport to Berlin. So are these trains as good as you'd expect from a flagship product, or did Deutsche Bahn and Siemens miss the target? Let's take a look. Frankfurt Airport is one of many airports connected to a country's passenger rail network. However, it has the most numerous services passing through, as well as the largest station with 7 platform tracks between the original underground station and the modern long-distance station to the north of the airport. There are a number of ways to reach the latter, all converging on this wide walkway that features a few shops and eateries as well as a Lufthansa center. At the end, you walk out into this beautiful glass atrium which serves as the station concourse. Here you'll find more eateries, a Deutsche Bahn travel center, access to the platforms below, and on the opposite ends, entrances to more shops, restaurants and office areas. Our train is the ICE 578 to Berlin Gesundbrunnen, departing at 12:41. We settled on the traditional bakery as our place to eat a second breakfast, enjoy a coffee and relax while waiting for our train to Berlin. With plenty of time to spare, we headed down to the platform where we expected to board our train. As the traffic volume is pretty high here, this afforded us some time to view arrivals and departures of a number of ICE trains. Here's what looks like a Siemens Velaro ICE set leaving from the opposite platform. Here's an ICE1 train, which is an example of the original Intercity-Express series of 59 sets. For years, this has been my favorite high-speed train in Germany, but is it better than the ICE4? Well, we're about to find out. Shortly after this departure, a kind gentleman asked me where we're traveling to. After I answered that we're going to Berlin, he let us know that the track and platform for our train were changed. We hurried to the changed location with little time to spare. And here's our ride today, the ICE4, on a little over 4-hour trip to Berlin Hauptbahnhof. We reserved first-class seats at a table for today's journey. However, as most seats on the ICE4 are airline-style front-to-back configuration, let's take a look at what one of these looks like first. There's plenty of space, but the legroom is not exceptional. The convenient footrest can be deployed and put away if not needed.
Abfahrtzeit 19:17 Uhr, Bahnsteig 9. ICE 1577 nach Karlsruhe über Darmstadt-Heidelberg, 13:20 Uhr, Bahnsteig 13. Regionalexpress in Richtung Fulda über Frankfurt am Main Süd, Offenbach-Hanau. Wird dann in Frankfurt einen kurzen Aufenthalt, ändert die Fahrtrichtung und setzt dann die Fahrt in Richtung Berlin-Gesundbrunnen fort. Mit Halt in Erfurt, Halle, Saale, Berlin, Südkreuz und Berlin Hauptbahnhof. Number 120 contract number 13. Local train open via Bad Nauheim and Wetzlar. The departure time at 1:26, today on track number 15. Gesundbrunnen via Erfurt, Halle, Saale, Berlin Südkreuz and Berlin Central Station. We would like to say goodbye to all passengers leaving us. Thank you for choosing Deutsche Bahn today. Take care and goodbye.
Overall, this is a nice space. But you know what? I somehow expected first class on a brand new Intercity-Express flagship train to be outstanding, not just nice. There seems to be less to distinguish first class on the ICE4 from other travel classes and trains. On this trip, we just came from Japan, where we traveled on the Tokaido Shinkansen N700A trains. There, first-class green cars were a significant step up in quality, personal space, exclusivity, and ambiance above second class. This is not the feeling I had on this train. And here's a typical 4-seat setup around a table. And a 2-seat table. I quite like the table seats, especially good for couples and families. Unfortunately, the ICE4 seems to have a decreased number of these type of seats. We're arriving at the first stop on this journey, Frankfurt Hauptbahnhof, the main station. Here the train got very busy with pretty much all seats taken. This was the theme on this European trip, with the trains that we were on running at close to capacity in all countries visited.
Weil da die nächste Möglichkeit nach Berlin dann bestand, kam auch nicht. Die ist wieder zurückgekommen. Heute habe ich einmal keinen Stress. Das ist jetzt ich bin auch sehr oft Auto schon gefahren, die meiste Zeit von einem Rutsch raus auch vor der Sendung.
There's Wi-Fi service on board. It was easy to connect to and performed quite well with decent download and great upload speeds. The specific train information was available at your fingertips. Okay, let's take a look at the restroom facilities. It's all modern and working as it should be on an almost brand new train. The water is sensor activated, but the soap has mechanical activation and the hand drying is surprisingly only with paper. Right, it's time to head on to the restaurant car for lunch. Wait, Unfortunately, we couldn't enjoy a meal on this trip. The somewhat cramped restaurant was full. As I waited for a table, we stopped and departed from Erfurt, a busy interchange stop of the itinerary. The restaurant space never materialized, as there were tables occupied by travelers who didn't seem to be interested in eating anything, just sitting there staring at their laptop screens. In fact, most of the patrons seemed to be doing that, a very annoying practice which the staff was unwilling or unable to remedy by asking these individuals to vacate the seats. I've seen this in other countries as well, but at least in Poland the dining cars have more than twice as much seating spaces, so it's much easier to secure a seat with a purpose of actually eating something. For this trip, too bad, as there are but a few things greater than having a wonderful meal on a high-speed train. Well, maybe next time. We're traveling on one of the newer German high-speed lines. This section between Erfurt and Halle is the first part of our trip where the ICE4 can speed up to its maximum potential. In this case, we topped out at around 250 kilometers per hour. The ICE4, built by Siemens and Bombardier, is the most numerous family of Intercity-Express trains, numbering 137. It's configured in 3 different versions: 7-car, 12-car and 13-car. Our train today was the 13-car configuration, of which 9 are second class, 3.5 first class, with the other half being the restaurant with 22 seats. The design maximum speed of this train is 265 kilometers per hour, or about 165 miles per hour. The trip from Halle to Berlin went by very fast as we traveled without stops and seemingly at a consistent speed. Before long, we stopped at Berlin Südkreuz and then a few minutes later at Berlin Hauptbahnhof. So what's my conclusion about the ICE4? Overall, it's a good train, but I can't help to think that the design could have been better, that the train could have stood out more. I remember first getting on board the ICE1. What a difference that was in comfort, exclusivity, and of course speed from the dominating Intercity and Eurocity trains of the early 1990s. And while Deutsche Bahn should be complimented for deciding to retain a restaurant car in the consist, it has been significantly reduced in size from some of the other ICE trains. If the train you're on is very busy, then it's very difficult or next to impossible to get a seat in the restaurant. Maybe some sort of a reservation system should be implemented. I've seen interiors of the latest generation ICE3 Neo trains currently under contract, and they look noticeably better than what the ICE4 has to offer. I'm looking forward to traveling on this new ICE3 Neo train. In closing, what was the price tag for this ICE4 first class experience? By purchasing the ticket about 4 months prior to the day of travel, I paid €50 per person for this 4-hour plus trip. That's pretty great considering that next day tickets for the same train approach €200, or close to 4 times what we paid. I guess it pays to plan early. We arrived at Berlin Hauptbahnhof Tief, the bottom level, and needed to transfer to a connecting train to our hotel at the top level of this gorgeous station. And how is this for a great view from the Moxie by Marriott Hotel next to Berlin Ostbahnhof? Thank you so much for watching.